Hello, welcome back to the Upset Special. We've had the name for a week now, but we've had the picks for a while now. Please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Please, please, please. It'll help us a lot. Like the video too. And comment below what upset or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 you're most confident in seeing happen this week. We can't wait to see them. We'll go over what we had last week, as today we are joined by Andrew Brewster. It's his first time picking on here, so he's 0-0. No biggie. But Dave, man. Nebraska over Oklahoma last week. You said when you picked it, it could end up being the worst pick we ever share on this show. After a 7-0 start and Nebraska scoring on their first and last drives of the game, you would think things were good. They lost by about 600. Not good.
Yeah, I was very confident at the first 5 minutes. That was not pretty.
Yeah, and then you should have won South Alabama over UCLA. I feel bad for you. It should have been South Alabama celebrating like they won Game 7 of the World Series, not the Bruins. Like Kansas over Houston. Talk about a hot dot. That was a great pick for you. Old Dominion over Virginia was another laser beam that just didn't pan out with a last-minute field goal drive for UVA. Tough luck. On my end, I'm sorry. Montana State was good on offense. They averaged 7 points a quarter. Not bad. They only just gave up 60 plus to Oregon State. I'm sorry. And then Tulane beat Kansas State, another laser beam. And Jake, who is not with us today, had Texas Tech over NC State. And then Liberty almost beating Wake Forest. A tough loss there. Going to our records now, Dave, you're 1-5, man. Your one win thus far is what is Iowa State over Iowa. And I don't even know if we could call that an upset. That got past the metal detectors, man. Like you're 2-4. Kansas over Houston, Old Dominion over Virginia Tech. You should be 3-3. Andrew, sir, obviously 0-0. We'll see how you do this week.
Never lost.
Never lost. Never won.
Like LeVar Ball.
Jake is 2-4. He is dominated when he has picked a Florida game. Kentucky over Florida, Florida over Utah. I am also 2-4. My wins being Incarnate Word over Nevada and Tulane over Kansas State. Now we could throw all that.
Hold on. No, Colt, come on a second. I just need to add something real quick. You're talking about how Dave got through the metal detectors picking a 3.5 point underdog, but you picked a pick'em game with Incarnate Word.
The final spread for that game was like Nevada -3. And when I picked it, nobody knew the spread for the game. It was a simple FCS over FBS upset. That was that.
Sorry,
we did not know what the lines Vegas was setting were. It's not my fault, but Vegas got absolutely – that people probably got swindled bang on Nevada with that terrible line.
I mean, it wasn't terrible. Incarnate Word did win.
I mean, yeah, but it was a terrible line because Incarnate Word should have been favored. We could throw everything away. We're on to this week. Dave, your first upset.
All right. So I only have one. I'm sitting in the basement right now. I also got robbed twice. South Alabama should have beat UCLA, and then ECU should have beat NC State. So I could be sitting at 3, could be in first, but that's just not the way it goes. So this game I've had my eyes on since July, I think, when I did the ACC preview. I'm taking Wake Forest over Clemson. In my preview, I said Wake Forest had the potential to go 11-1. I still am a believer of that, even though they almost lost to Liberty. They narrowly beat them. I think that was just because they were looking ahead to this game. They didn't play well, but also Clemson has not impressed me. Like Clemson, I'm listening to who they beat Louisiana Tech. They beat Furman, and they beat Georgia Tech. They crushed Georgia Tech week 1, but like late. They only scored 35 against Furman. Like, I don't think this offense is as potent as people think it should be. I don't think Ugalele is good. I love Sam Hartman. This is probably the biggest game of Sam Hartman's career up to this point. He could have bigger games after this. I think that he's going to shine. I think they're going to be fired up. And Winston-Salem and Wake Forest wins this game.
Respect. Like the pick.
I'm going to go to a team that has had the hot hand. over the last few weeks, there's been a team that has become America's team. Screw the Dallas Cowboys. This is their country. There's a bit of an adrenaline high, though. Last week was one of the craziest finishes we'll probably see all season. The week before, they beat a top 10 team, and the week before, they scored 40 points in the fourth quarter and still found a way to lose. I'm, of course, talking about the Appalachian State Mountaineers. You know how when you get stabbed, and this is going to sound really morbid, you're supposed to keep the item in you. Well, James Madison's about to pull that dagger out the heart and let App State bleed to their second loss. James Madison has such a potent offense, and I'm sorry, App State, you had such a great run. You had such a great finish to that game against Troy. You should not have beaten them. Chase Bryce, you seem like a great guy. You've had a long, illustrious career. You underthrew a Hail Mary and got, let's be real, a little bit lucky, a little bit of David Garrard with the Jacksonville Jaguars batted down. Oh, he caught it by Gus Johnson, rolls around to the right side, and App State storms the field after beating Troy, a team that they, over the last few years, have had pretty easy work with, dominating them in that series. But now you have a little bit of trouble. James Madison comes into town. James Madison, App State, very historic FCS rivalry. Obviously, we know some great games between the two. James Madison up in the FBS. I think that they get that first big win against App State in what will end up being an amazing group of 5 rivalry for years to come. App State, we love you. You're America's team, but you got to come down to earth. You got to get off Mars, son.
Interesting, because App State has come off of 3 emotional games now, win or lose. To take them banking on a low here in that 4 straight game is really interesting. Jam, you sick man. Chris Thornton, tell him, man, Juicer, how good is Chris Thornton?
I mean, if they follow you on Twitter or TPortalCFB, which you very well should be, I love that Twitter plug. They'll know that you have Chris Thornton very highly ranked in the group of 5 for wide receivers. And I'm going to butcher his last name, Todd
Centeio.
Todd Centeio is also another stud quarterback for JMU. I love this team. I love this spot. They're 7.5-point dogs going into Boone. I don't know if there's a happier fan base right now than Appalachian State. They got to come down to earth a little bit, man.
They're not happy seeing you pick against them, man.
Look, I'm a big Luke Combs fan. I hate picking against App State. But, you know, at the end of the day, I want to be right more than anything.
Especially with the slate. It's not the easiest of pickings this week. And I think that is definitely possible because JMU does look really good so far.
They do.
Yes, it is my turn to make my first selection for this week's show. There is a team in the Pac-12 that's kind of flown under the radar, I think, that has beaten a ranked team already this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they're going to do it again. My good friend Dylan Ruby King, cover your ears. I like Washington State, Wazoo, to defeat number 50 Oregon.
That was my other one.
Cameron Ward has been he's just made like against Wisconsin. He made a lot of timely plays to keep Wisconsin's offense off the field, sustaining a drive to close that game out. Dayan Henley in that defense played really well, and they've honestly played well these first few weeks. And I think they could give Oregon a lot of trouble. And I really like Wazoo this week.
Yeah, I love that. That was my other pick actually. So now I got to dig deep and find another one. Yeah, I guess I'll like go on top of that because I think that like we saw 2 sides of Oregon so far. They got stomped by Georgia and then they played really, really well against BYU. And for me, I think the big difference is that they were home against BYU and basically it was a road game in the Dome against Georgia. I think Pullman's going to be rocking. And I think if this Washington State defense, which has looked pretty solid, and Bo Nix is Bo Nix, so you don't know who you're going to get. I think that Cam Ward can control the game, absolutely pull it off.
Yeah,
That's a dang good pick, like that.
Pullman's a very underrated place to play. That place gets electric. I'll also say Oregon looked good against BYU. I'm not buying. I'm not buying. There's something about that team that screams, man, when they play a good team, they're going to get rocked. BYU was in a tough spot because they just came off a very emotional win against a ranked Baylor team that was one heck of a game, but also one weird game. Oregon's got enough talent where they're going to be able to put a team like BYU away. But now that Oregon's coming off Obviously, it's their first good win because no offense to Eastern Washington, Oregon should be making work of them. Now they got to go to a electric environment and play a team that has a lot of X factors. I think Jake Dickert's an amazing coach. I think that this is definitely a spot where Wazoo can not only beat Oregon. If we see them win by like 2 scores, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Oregon in this game. I might be the only one here that likes Oregon in this game, but you spoke about Eastern Washington there. Big Sky team. How good are they? They're not a very good Big Sky team. Does anyone here know what team Jake Dunaway plays quarterback for? Or does anybody listening know?
I have a feeling you know.
I do know. Does anybody know where MTSU transfer quarterback Asher O'Hara ended up?
Nope.
Well, MTSU beat Colorado State a few weeks ago. Asher now plays for Sac State. Jake Dunaway is their QB1. They play 2 quarterbacks, and they're going to destroy. Okay, maybe not destroy. Sac State is going to beat Colorado State. Colorado State is undoubtedly one of the worst teams in the country. And it's funny to say, they're probably tied for dead last and worst team in their state because the Buffaloes of Colorado are roaming around at the cellar too. But my goodness, Colorado State is dreadful. They cannot block on their offensive line. The coaching staff is not that good. Jay Norvell, you are not that guy, pal. And I say that with the most respect possible. I just think it was a very cowardly move you made to leave. I think an 0-4 start at Colorado State is very fitting for you, possibly 0-5 after you lose at Nevada in a few weeks. This Colorado State team is terrible, dude. Like, they're not good offensively. Clay Millen has not shown to be a guy that a lot of us thought would be a solid quarterback. His mechanics are horrific. Dante Wright, wide receiver, who was their WR1 entering the year, actually hit the transfer portal because of how happy he's been. That's their unhappy he's been. That was their WR1 leaving because he never got a shot to play on this team. Wild stuff. Their defense is terrible. Sac State could score the ball, man. They won 37-21 at Northern Arizona. They put 56 against Dixie State / Utah Tech. Well, now Utah Tech, obviously. I'm going with Sac State. Another FCS over FBS upset for me. I'm sorry if this spread ends up being a pick 'em when it opens. It's not open yet, so I have no clue what the spread is. But Sac State's a top 10 team in the FCS for a reason.
Yeah, I was actually looking at Millen's stats the other day, and unless the ESPN app is lying to me, someone guess how many times he's been sacked in 3 games.
I would
just blurt out a number.
I would guess like 23.
Okay, Liam, I literally sent you the statistic like 2 days ago.
Wait, I was right.
I hate you. You got sacked
I did not know.
I
just guessed the number. I was going to guess 21.
hate
That was right in the
23.
back of the head. He knew it.
I was going to guess 21 or
hate you.
23.
You should have guessed 21. Because that's what 9 + 10 is.
Yeah, Liam, Liam, I knew you were going to take this when I saw it on the board. We talked about it a little bit last week, not on the show, but like off screen, and I knew you were going there.
Can I add something?
Yeah, they're favored. Watch that.
Colorado State are 2.5-point underdogs.
That's just wait till a real sportsbook has this line up.
What do you mean? It's an actual sports book.
Do they have a name?
It's not one we're sponsored by.
So they're irrelevant. That's all I'm hearing.
Use code transfer. My bookie. First time users get a double deposit.
Look, man, FCS, FBS lines usually don't come out till the night before or the day of at most sports books. That's all I'm saying, including the one we're sponsored by MyBookie. That's all I'm saying. Use code transfer. Taking Sac State, end of story. I seriously, the 23 thing, I did not know. That was a complete guess.
I hate you.
I just didn't know. I seriously didn't know.
I literally sent it in our group chat the other day. Wow, how can an offensive line be this inept? If you get sacked 9 times in one game, you should lose your job.
I did not see that.
You literally are in that group chat.
Doesn't mean I see everything. Just like I don't see Dave's next pick coming. He could take us all by storm here because Leica took his other one.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, this should absolutely count. If you don't count it, I'm going to be a little bit mad. I'm going Rutgers over Iowa.
Take it.
That counts, right?
Yes.
Of course it counts.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
Rutgers.
Yeah, they're a touchdown dog. This isn't really like I had this in the back pocket just in case. I was thinking about it. I was looking. This is the one. I just think it's not even that I think Rutgers is good. They struggled against Temple last week. And they beat BC, who's bad. I would just they can't score at all. They scored 27 points against Nevada. And one of the touchdowns was like a 60 at like 2 a.m. when no one was watching. I had it on because I had Nevada plus 24, which is a terrible bet. I wish I didn't take that, but the under was the play in that one. Yeah, I will score, and I think that for some reason people are going to be at this game. It's a night game at Rutgers, and that crowd is pretty decent at times. And I think that they're going to pack the place, and Shiano's going to cook something up, and Peters is going to be terrible. I won't score, and Rutgers is going to win like 20-10 or something. But Rutgers will win this game.
20. It's going to be 6-4, brother.
I see a 16-7 game in our vicinity.
16-7 be good. I could see Rutgers like taking a punt or a kickoff back for a big score.
Or Spencer Petras throws a pick six because we know he's able to do that at any time because he is the most inept quarterback I've ever watched with my own 2 eyes.
Says that with the perfect poker face. Guy, I love it.
Look, for my second pick, I'm between 2 games. I don't want to take Leica's pick, so but I really want to take it.
You don't even know.
I know what it is. I know what his pick is. I know what his pick is. Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to let him have it, even though I think that Leica's pick is also going to hit for this one. I'm going to take USF. USF put Florida in a duffel bag, and they just got it through TSA. No worries. And they should have gotten out with the win. It's pretty shocking that they didn't. I don't know how. But now they got to play Louisville. And by God play, I mean get to play. Because they get to play a trash team with a trash coach that's about to get fired. He is awful. Scott Satterfield, I will say for the rest of my life that the worst coach game I've ever watched was between Scott Satterfield and Gus Malzahn. That Louisville versus UCF game. The inner coach in me just wanted to scream and shout and let it all out because that game was disgusting. If you can keep Malik Cunningham in the pocket and make sure he doesn't make too many plays with his legs, Jerry Bohannon, don't turn over the ball. You win this game. You make Scott Satterfield and this is my favorite analogy, or not even an analogy, just saying, Scott Satterfield, get him on Zillow, find the nicest place in El Paso, because that's where he will be coaching next year.
I love how we just did our week 4 preview pod yesterday. And for that same Zillow line for Satterfield, he said near the Kibbe Dome. Now he's saying El Paso a day later.
Well, I mean, with how UTEP is playing, they might need a coach too.
Hey man, you know what I think of Satterfield? Playbook is smaller than half a napkin. That thing is awful. And for them to be that bad with the amount of talent they have in offense, 2 NFL offensive linemen, really good college quarterback, strong running back games. They have good receivers. It's pathetic.
Shows you how inept they are.
Really does. Now, I am curious. Leica, 1, we need your pick, but 2, did Andrewster dot the pick? Was he correct in saying you were going to have this? I'm very curious.
No, he was not.
Crap.
That was not the pick I was thinking of.
Oh no, I was trying to let you have your pick.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think I know where you're going.
You were setting me up to take.
That was
you were
nice.
setting me up to Texas
Yes.
Tech over.
Oh, no.
Still wrong.
Crap.
Oh no!
Nice
Wait.
poker face,
He
man.
wanted his pick.
I already made both my picks. It doesn't matter, Liam. I already have the pocket aces.
Yeah, I am curious though now. What the heck were you thinking of?
I have a 10 and a 2. Look, Texas Tech, I know against NC State, they didn't really look that good, but ultimately, I think they're a better team than what they showed against NC State. And there were a lot of drives that Donovan Smith, they would get down there and he'd throw a bad interception. They're going the other way for like 90 yards. Like they moved the ball well against States defense, and that I think State's defense is really good. But with sort of injury situation with quarterback for Texas, I think they can stack the box against Bijan Robinson. I know he'll still probably have a big game, but Texas Tech as a touchdown underdog at home, I actually think they'll easily cover that, and I actually think they win outright.
Am I the only one here that thinks Texas Tech actually just stinks?
I don't think they stink. I just think that
Like a 6
Give
win
them a
team.
game.
I think this is just a year where you get the pieces together, and then next year is the year where you really show like, hey, this
Mhm.
is what
Yep.
an offensive Zach Kitley and what Joey McGuire can do, because I think he's gonna find immense amounts of success at Texas Tech, especially in the new age
No,
of Big
so
12.
I just this year I just don't see it.
No,
But like if they beat Texas, Leica looks like a genius, and I look like a complete idiot. And that's what we're here for.
gotta love idiocy.
Yes, but Andrewster, I am very intrigued to hear what pick you were trying to throw at Oop to Leica with.
Okay, now I think you're gonna take it. I was really wanted to take Fordham over Ohio.
No, I was gonna shout it out though. I was gonna shout out. It's not my
hate
pick though. I like Fordham over Ohio for sure.
I do
Tim
as well.
DeMorat, what a stud at quarterback, man. This would be Ohio's second straight year losing to an FCS school. Shout out Duquesne, who did it last year. I do see Fordham getting it done. I am kind of disappointed because I did think someone else was going to take it. But I'm going to a whole different ball game here. Now, these teams played in the NCAA tournament, and I was all over the underdog to get a big win as 7.5 point
Oh.
underdogs in that game. They weren't able to do it. Star guard for this team, this mid-major, Malachi Smith, great player. He doesn't play football though. He only plays basketball. You're looking for some footballers on this team. Aleem Ford at running back. What a stud he is. Devontae Maxwell, NFL potential in him. Of course, I'm talking about the mocks. So don't mock me for taking Chattanooga to beat Illinois. Had to throw the pun in there. If you're going to hate on me taking one of the top 10 FCS teams in the country again against a Brett Bielema-led squad on a Thursday night at Illinois, a game that's going to be overshadowed by two much better games on the slate, a game nobody's going to expect anything from, you're sadly mistaken. Chattanooga could play, and they are so good with a few things. Their running game is really good, and their defense is super strong. Now, is the Illinois offense going to scare you enough? In my opinion, it doesn't. I could see this game being like a 24-21 final score kind of game. That's where I'm leaning. I just straight up think I gotta go with Chattanooga here. And I'm hoping it doesn't hurt like the NCAA tournament did, where I had Chattanooga money line and you lose 54-53 on some a terrible officiating that I shouldn't go into because this is a college football show. So I'm taking the Mocs over Illinois.
I remember cheering very hardly against Illinois in that game, and it was unfortunate.
They had no business winning that game. Oh my gosh.
Big Ten college basketball. We could start a different episode just talking about that. I hate it. I hate it.
Hey man, like I want Illinois fans to come after me for taking Chattanooga here. I want them to get mad at me on Twitter. I want them to tweet me after Chattanooga wins too and use this clip if Chattanooga loses, because it will be cool to see myself on the big screen on the Twitters looking like an idiot. But nah, the Mocs are winning this game. People just don't know it yet.
UT Chattanooga gonna have Illinois fans drinking champagne afterwards.
You see it like
Good
that.
one.
You see it.
It's also a vibes game completely. Thursday night. That's just weird.
Sure.
Thursday night, you have Coastal Georgia State and you have West Virginia
That's a great game.
Tech on the slate.
That's a less great game.
If
But
you ask me,
nobody's going to be looking at Chattanooga, Illinois. And guess what? Illinois' got Wisconsin on deck.
Look ahead. Look ahead.
Look ahead. That's what we do here. We're not just picking based off who's the better team or not. We're doing the look aheads. We're doing the vibe
All
checks.
about vibes, look aheads.
Mhm. The terrible vibes out in Piscataway, where Rutgers is going to get done against Iowa. One of the many picks of the 8 picks that we shared with y'all today. We'll do a quick rundown of what we had with, of course, the Fordham over Ohio shout out that I think we should just say is a consensus transfer portal CFB upside of the week. But Dave, tell them what you got.
I got Wake Forest upsetting Clemson at home, and then I have Rutgers beating Iowa in the best game of the year.
Gross. The best game of the year was such an unnecessary comment.
It's the best sickos game of the year.
It's just sick,
brother.
35.5 is the total. Let's go.
And it's still going under. All right. I got the Dukes of James Madison taking down the App State Mountaineers, and I've got the Bulls of USF, even though I hate Jeff Scott, over Louisville because I hate Scott Satterfield more.
I got Wazoo over Oregon and the Texas Tech Red Raiders over the Texas Longhorns because that's why, just because.
I accidentally took a potential favorite in an FCS FBS game with Sac State over Colorado State. Sue me. And I took, of course, another FCS over FBS upset. Chattanooga over Illinois. It's all coming full circle, man. Revenge for the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16 that never was. Chattanooga. We're getting it done. And we thank you so much for watching another episode of the Upset Special. Please make sure to comment some upsets that you see happening this week because, hey, none of us said Vanderbilt's being Alabama. One of you might say that, and you might look like a genius, or Alabama
Really
might
lucky.
just win by 70. So whatever. But anyway, yeah, please comment below some upsets you like. Tell us, maybe what we should be picking next week as well as we look ahead to week 5, and make sure to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one. Can't thank you all enough. Thank you for the support. See you.